Hi guys, welcome back to our Maine homestead. So last week you saw my process for making an elderflower and rosehip salve. At the same time, I did collect some elderflowers for a batch of elderflower wine. So let's go ahead and take a look at that process. So I'm already a few days into the elderflower wine process, so I will take you guys along to show you everything moving forward and explain to you what I've done already. Okay, so my elderflower wine recipe I actually got from gardenerspath.com. I will put a link right here for you guys so that you can go check it out. The article was 11 things that you can do with elderflowers, and I definitely picked the wine because that looked like a lot of fun and something that would be a good time to try for the first time. So on day one, I took a pint of elderflowers, so that's about 2 cups of elderflowers destalked, and then the juice and zest of 1 lemon. Put that into a pot. In a different pot, I boiled a gallon of water, and once that reached boiling, I poured it over my elderflowers and lemon, and that infused for 3 days. So today is day 3, so what I'm gonna do now is strain out all of the solids, and then I'll be mixing in 3 pounds of sugar and a ½ ounce of yeast. And so then I'm gonna let that ferment for a few more days before the next step of the process. All right, so now my elderflower wine is ready to sit and ferment, and then once the bubbles kind of slow down, then I'm supposed to stir it and let it sit for another 3 days before the final step of the process, which is going to be letting it age for about 2 months. Now, I didn't realize until just this very second that I probably should have used some of Eddie's brewer's yeast or like champagne yeast. That probably would have been better. I don't know if the Fleischmann's active dry yeast that I typically use for bread making and things like that, is going to change the flavor at all, but we'll just see what happens. Everything is a first time around here, and sometimes we make mistakes, and sometimes those mistakes end up working out really well, so we'll see. Okay, speaking of not necessarily a mistake, but as a first-time winemaker here, Eddie did inform me on a few things I probably should change so that I don't turn my wine into vinegar. So instead of putting them in the mason jars with the cheesecloth on top, which the directions don't really specify how to store those, that's the way that I went with. And once he saw that I was doing that, he was like, "Ooh, you're letting a lot of air get into that wine as it's fermenting, and that's going to cause it to turn into vinegar." So for the 2 half-gallon jars, I'm actually going to transfer them into this carboy, and then basically put this little stopper thing together so that air cannot get to it, but gas can still escape, because we also don't want it to explode as gas builds up in the jars. And then for the smaller quart jar, I'm going to put just a fermenting lid on there so that we can burp it by squeezing this little top right here. Today is day 13. I technically should have strained this off on day 10, but life has just gotten in the way, and so here we are, day 13. So I'm going to use our auto siphon to siphon off the liquid into another vessel that I have down here that I'll show you in a second. But that way it'll strain out all of the sediment, and then we're going to rack it and let it sit and age for about 2 months before we try it. I'm not going to worry about videoing the smaller mason jar that I have here. I'm just going to show you in this carboy what I'll be doing. So once I give it a few pumps here, then gravity just takes over and it is siphoning out the liquid, and it should leave all of the sediment in this initial carboy here. So this is what is left behind, just a little bit of liquid, all of the sediment at the bottom there, which you can see pretty good right there. So now I'm going to rack, well, I put our stopper and fermenting top back on there so that it can still release gas but not get a lot of air to it. And I'm going to just place this over underneath the towel again where I had it before and let it age for about 2 months. So we should be doing a taste test around the beginning of August, but now it's the end of September. Per usual, we're running a little behind on schedule, but we are about to taste test our homemade elderflower wine. So I'm making Eddie take a break from building fence posts right now, and we are about to do a taste test. Okay, so yesterday I poured off a little bit of the wine into a pint jar so that I could put it in the fridge and let it chill, because I think this is going to be a much better wine chilled. I did taste it at room temperature yesterday. I thought it tasted good, but maybe better chilled. And then I think towards the end of August we did do a small taste test on it, and it had very much like a cough syrup kind of flavor to it. But again, it was at room temperature, it wasn't chilled, and I think it's going to be better chilled for sure. It has a very pretty color, kind of like a rosé or a like white Zinfandel, kind of a pinky color to it, maybe a little more orangey. But you have any thoughts to share before we taste test?
No.
All right, here we go.
To see what it tastes like.
Here we go.
Wow, it's strong.
It is strong, yes.
You taste the alcohol.
I don't know if that is because I let it sit for longer than I should have. Or I mean, than was recommended kind of in the recipe.
It's good. It's sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely like more of a sweeter wine, like
it's
a white
like a dessert
or a rosé.
wine almost.
Oh yeah, that's
what it tastes like.
That is what it tastes like.
I don't like dessert wines necessarily, but it's good.
I think it's good.
I like red wines, drier wines. This is definitely not dry, but it's good.
It's definitely drinkable. You can definitely taste the alcohol, and it's only like 10 o'clock in the morning, so we about to get wild today. No, I'm just kidding. But I think it's good. I think it turned out good if you like a sweet, more dessert type wine.
It's very good.
It's very good.
What is this again?
Elderflowers.
Elderflowers.
Yes. Not elderberries, elderflowers.
It's very good. I would recommend trying it.
Cheers! Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and we'll check back in with you next week.